Everyone. I try to get in here on time today. My name is George Pottenkulam with the Welch team, and you are not seeing Kelly today because she is at home sick. But we've got the primetime team of Tamera and Lori with me today, who are gonna make sure I don't mess things up as we go through this. I'll let you guys say hi while I figure out how to share my screen.
I'm Lori Mieczkowski with the Welch team, a listing specialist on the team, and I'm happy to be joining George and Tamera here today. It should be fun.
Hi, I'm Tamera Dallich, also with the Welch team. I'm the Director of Sales here for the team, and I'm really excited to be on Ask the Agent 2 and helping George out and Lori out a little bit here as we go through.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun if I can actually get this to go. Oh, fun.
You definitely tell that's an old picture of me. A little bit of a difference.
Changing hairstyles.
Mm-hmm.
So we got George at the controls today.
Yes,
Screen sharing. I can see your screen, George. I can see. So I think you are out there hitting.
I was trying to get it to present.
Yeah.
It won't let me do it for whatever reason.
Uh-oh.
I don't want it to stop the audio, so we will go through this in a second while I it's the easy portion of why wouldn't we just let it play? Why it won't play? Well,
there you go. Underview right there, top one.
Look at that.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Voila.
So much fun. Well, finally got past that. So we'll jump right into what we were talking about today. Of course, every week, as Kelly has always said in the past, we go look at our weekly updates. So we're going to talk through stats for a little bit and then jump into our topic of the day, which is recruiting. I know a lot of teams are out there doing, a lot of real estate companies out there recruiting because this is, real estate market is blowing up. So we are not unlike everybody else, but jumping into that as well. So we want to chat about it a little bit as we go in just past our stats, and we'll kind of keep it short on the stats portion of it. But if you guys take a look at the market these days, just the past couple of weeks, we have continued to do the same thing. We're not getting as many homes as we're selling. As you can see, we're at 700 new listings here in this past week, and had 771 go into contract. So saying the same thing again and again. We need more homes on the market.
Yeah. I think the other thing is the number of we've seen the number of sold homes surge in the last week. We were seeing a little bit of a slowdown. So I think that we've kind of moved past that lag from the summertime, and we're starting to see the fall activity kick in. And that's always good news. Now we just need some new inventory out there for those buyers you're working with.
Absolutely. It's been a challenge. As you can see, the home sales that can just keep going through. We just need to be able to say, hey, if you know somebody who wants to sell their home, put it on the market. It's going to sell. Just got to help. Yeah. We got to help you find another home. That's probably our bigger challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. So good problems to have for buyers and sellers alike.
Absolutely. Well, looking at the year-over-year market as well, just seeing our inventory. I mean, that is a significant decrease from last September to this September. 39% down from where we had active homes. That's just crazy. From going for a monthly supply from 3.6 to 2. And then the big number right here, just looking at year-over-year increase for average sales price. What are you seeing on your side of it, Lori?
I mean, I think that one of the things that hits me too is the inventory of homes. I don't know that we've seen an inventory of homes that low. You'd probably have to go back into 2002, 2003, and then it's, you would have to analyze the numbers a little differently because our market wasn't quite as large. But we have, to be down almost at 5,000, just under 6,000 homes available for sale in Northeast Florida. I mean, that's a pretty staggering deficit in inventory, and down 30% year over year is crazy. So what I see on my side, I work with the sellers, and sellers, the biggest question is always, is it a good time to sell, and when is the right time? And George and I were together this afternoon on talking to some folks, and I think that one of the stories coming out of 2020 is that there hasn't been a bad time all year long, with the exception of a very short window when we were all unsure of what was going to go on with lockdown and restrictions around the city. But other than that, it has been like a crazy, insane, strong year for whether you're selling or whether you're buying. There's great reasons on both sides.
No, 100% agree with that. And then the fact that we've had that huge increase in our average sales price is it's definitely a lot of people who bought last year who thought, hey, we're at a great time in the market. We're kind of maybe buying at the peak. A year later, you probably sell it and make a profit again, which is unheard of. And just going right back into going back into the listings a little bit, just looking at year to date for 2000, and here's a good stat, going back from 2018 to 2019, just a little bit of an increase, which is what we typically expect, go year over year. But then to see that next year where our volume has been for available homes on the market, to go down, that's why, if you have an opportunity to list, this is by far the best time to go ahead and maximize the amount of money you can get for your home.
Yeah. I mean, to see, our inventory is down almost 40%, but the new listings are down 3.7, which means we're really, really eroding into the month supply of inventory, or the number of homes that will be available to sell in 2 months if nothing else comes on the market. It's pretty, or history making times right now in the real estate market. So.
And just to point out, I mean, this is not just what we see here in North Florida. Tamara actually has an experience from not in our local market, from her family, saying what struggles. Tell us a little bit about that, Tamara.
Oh, absolutely. My daughter lives up in northern Indiana near the Chicago area, and they're relocating to southern Indiana. They placed their house on the market, had an offer that was accepted, and it went under contract the next day. They were down in the Evansville area and purchased a home that had been on the market for 3 days. So also very similar in situation to what we're running into here, where the home they went to purchase was in a multiple offer situation, and they were fortunate enough to win the home. But yeah, I mean, this is a nationwide thing. It's not just here in Florida. This is happening all over our country, where real estate is just hot.
It is. It's crazy, and we're hearing similar stories across the country with several different areas where people are just booming. Texas. In Texas, the person I talked to most recently, they put the house on the market, and within days, they had an offer, because again, everybody had been looking at it ahead of time, just with the way the market goes, and they already had 3 or 4 people very, very interested in the home, and they knew it was going to go under contract quickly. So you're not going to spend weeks showing a property like you used to, and that was just from earlier this year, because I know personally, because I had my home on the market, and I spent about 3 weeks showing the home before I finally got it under contract. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
And there are days when we go 3 weeks is a long time. So it is definitely reshifting our perceptions.
Well, it's reshifting, I think, too, the way that agents are having to go about it. And the good agents in particular are having to go that extra mile for their customers, especially more so on the buy side right now, I think, than on the sell side, because the sell side's, you know, obviously the inventory is going quickly. But on the buy side, there's a lot of extra things that are having to be done. And George, you can speak to that in regard to the agents we have even on the team and what they're doing that's kind of above and beyond to help their buyers out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had our buyers have to do not just, you know, keep an eye on what's coming on the market, but look at what's coming soon. And it is, with our team, it makes it simple to where we can actually talk to our listing agents in the same office and find out, hey, what do you have coming on the market? But when we look at everything, all the other agents and teams that are out there, you're on the phone, making phone calls, asking around, hey, what do you know that's coming up soon that matches this criteria? We're trolling social media outlets as well, trying to find some other options. And probably like the biggest thing that we're also going to get into probably a little bit more heavily this year is circle prospecting certain neighborhoods, and that's calling that neighborhood, that area, and ask, hey, do you want to sell your house? Do you want to sell your house? So the beauty of it is that our team is so large and so helpful that we can all kind of do that together and spend maybe a couple hours and make 300 phone calls to say, hey,
so we even heard a lot about what can buyers do that can get them an advantage in this type of a market. And there's some stuff that's kind of, that George hit the nail on the head. A lot of the time what we can do with our folks is that we have the ability, circle prospecting is a regular activity for us. So we're, especially when we've got a listing that goes quickly and there's been a lot of interest in an area and in that particular community, we're definitely getting on the phone and trying to find those buyers who did not get the home, another home that might work for them. Yeah, so we have some advantage for buyers when you're looking for the right agent to work with. Sometimes, and we're going to talk about teams versus non-teams and that kind of thing here in a minute, but that gives a buyer a real advantage because George and his group have insight into what might be coming to the market. And the National Association of Realtors earlier this year put out a ruling that stopped all advertising for homes that are not actively listed on the MLS. So no longer can that buyer go out there and find them on social media outlets or Zillow or any of the consumer search sites. And so your only outlet now, if you're a buyer and you're looking in a competitive market, is to be working with an agent who's really connected.
That is very, very important here. We'll hop back into our presentation here real quick, because as we were talking about it, I mean, that just looking at the national inventory, you know, of the entire country, I mean, that's 3.3 months of supply is what we have nationally. I mean, that is an all-time record low for inventory. And so we're seeing this across the board for the entire country that's just struggling with homes. So, you know, I don't know how many times we can say it again and again. If you ever had thought about selling your home, now is really the best time. I can keep getting this going. So same thing, you know, just keep highlighting that. No, I don't want us to take up too much of that, but I want to focus a little bit more on our topic of the day, which is talking about recruiting and the differences of, you know, being a single agent, working on a team, being part of Keller Williams, being part of the Welch team. So who wants to take it off and talk a little bit about more some of our little topics here? We dive deep into this.
I can kind of kick it off here.
There you go.
You know, I talk to a lot of people on a regular basis as director of sales. I talk to a lot of people who are debating on whether or not they want to go into real estate. And some of them rock solidly. I support the decision, and here in a second I'll ask you guys a little bit about your reasons for why. But there are other people who their reasons for wanting to get into real estate may not be quite as strong. And, you know, there's some great things about the career and some things that, you know, are definite warning signs for you might just not make it. So, I'd like to kind of bounce that back to you and Lori, George, and ask you, why a career in real estate, and maybe who should be avoiding that career?
I'll let you take that first one, Lori.
So my path has been long and windy. I started in new construction and then moved over into general real estate, and was a broker for for 8-9 years with the Keller Williams franchise. So I did a lot of talking. So I talked to hundreds of, I'm like Tamara, I talked to hundreds of people who were getting into the business. Why real estate? I think this is an industry that keeps you, it's always exciting and always challenging. There's always opportunities to learn. And I found out as I've traveled my career path, that was something that really appealed to me. I liked being challenged in new situations and the ability to learn. If you're not willing to change and adapt, this may not be the right industry for you, because it is constantly changing and adapting. That's what we've been talking about a lot on these Ask the Agents. The other thing that I think is really critical is you got to be okay with the fact that it's not always glamorous. And I know George's side of the business with the buyers, everybody thinks the buyer's agents just get to go look at pretty houses all day, and it's something like, I don't know, $1 Million Listing on HGTV or whatever the show is that's popular today. But it's not at all like that. Most of our world can be kind of mundane. We do the same tasks every day to a certain extent, and those are the keys to the success. So you've got to be really okay with habits of consistency in the right areas that will build your business. And if you're not willing to do that and be dedicated to it, it's tough to be successful in this business.
Well, and definitely, one of those things, same thing. I started out a little differently. I got my license originally in 2006, didn't quite work out. And then when I came back in, I started part-time for a long time. I was on that team where my broker, Lori, had said, "Who's that?"
No idea.
I worked on your team. Some guy who never comes in. So, but yes, it was one of those things where, it's a huge risk. That's one of the first things that you think about. It's like, because when you start out in this business, it is commission based. So it's someone who has to have some sort of whether it's savings or some sort of a stable environment behind them to say, okay, I'm going to get an opportunity to go out and learn and develop, but it's going to be unsure as to when my next paycheck could be. So that's one thing, but also the biggest challenge is being flexible. This is definitely one of those roles where you could be working Sunday night, you could be working Thursday afternoon, Friday evening, you just never know. So you have to be able to kind of change, but at the same time, still maintain a certain level of consistency with making phone calls, doing certain things, learning, education. There's so much involved in that. So it has to be someone who's willing to bend and flex accordingly to how that day or that week or that month's going to look like, and then kind of go back and adjust and still do everything.
Yeah. I don't know if people really realize the amount of entrepreneurial spirit along with true dedication that goes into being an agent. I mean, you not only have to be able to hold yourself extremely accountable, but there's just so many other components to it. And that part-time thing doesn't work out necessarily so well. So
yeah. No, and you hear that all the time. It's like you cannot dedicate yourself 100% to something if you're not all in on it. So if you're 50-50 somewhere, you're only doing half a decent job in both of your positions, and you're not being fair to either one of your careers. So you have to take that leap. You have to make that adjustment, and just bear in mind you're going to be working a lot. You always hear it's like, oh, it's real estate. You get to take all the time off you want in the world. No, we all work more now than we did in our probably standard 8-to-5 career jobs than we had in the past, even with probably all the overtime and all that you did. Yeah.
I think the difference is that you are an entrepreneur, and you are working for yourself. And, and for us, we're super fortunate because the culture that we have within our group and our team, we all like each other and we support each other. Yeah, I know. We support each other, but so it keeps, if you have that right support system around you, you can keep the stress down, because there's always someone to go to help you work through a situation, or to have a resource that you might need. And so even though we work, and I'm with George, I work more hours today than I have in any of the other jobs that I've held, but they were jobs, and this is my business. And it's, and the level of stress is so much lower for me, and the enjoyment is so much greater.
Yeah, and you guys both have brought up a really great point, and that is that you're working so much. Now, both of you close more business in the course of a year than what some agents close in 5.
Yeah.
So, first off, really kudos to you and to every member of our team, because let's face it, I mean, we have a lot of really top producers in the industry on this team, so, which is phenomenal. But could you do that same thing if you weren't on a team? Because I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize when they talk about teams versus being a standalone agent.
Absolutely not.
No, definitely not. There's no way I would have been anywhere close to doing what I do now, or even probably staying in the business if I wasn't part of our team. So.
100%. Kelly and I, Kelly and I have had this conversation a couple of times, and and we always go back to, there's no way that I can accomplish in my day and keep my sanity in what I do if it wasn't for the fact that I was a part of a team. And we have incredible systems and processes around us. And I have a very high appreciation for that. And so I love that there's, we have a consistent way of doing things each time. And that benefits our customers to a great extent, because we know what the process needs to look like, both on the buy side, the sell side, and the contract to close process, to keep things running smoothly and to keep us from running into any, it doesn't keep you from running into all problems, but it certainly keeps them down.
Yeah, and talking about the customers, of course, they're always number one in our book, but how does like a team environment, from what you've both experienced, because you've both worked on non-teams in the past, how does being in a team environment affect customers differently than, say, and not all standalone agents, but in a lot of cases, what they might face working with someone who's out there on their own?
I can't tell you, for the short period of time that I did as on my own, I was lost. The whole time. I mean, I would not have been able to answer questions that people came up to me about, processes, and just the fact of being able to market myself out. I didn't know what I was doing. So it's not impossible, but it's something for me personally that there wasn't an opportunity that I could grow and develop and be able to become successful. Hence the reason I flamed out in 2 years. Less than that, probably. That's when my license expired, but I flamed out a lot before that.
You're not unusual.
No.
So I saw many agents that, it was almost a milestone if they could make it to the 1.5 to 2 year mark. It's juggling, it's doing everything that you have to do. And it's also being patient in order to build a business, because we are building our business here. And so for an agent, whether you're if you're a single agent, you're at least 1.5 to 2 years before you really have any kind of foothold into the market. And then the statistics show it's really 5 before you have a solid business base, and you can really start to feel that synergy that comes from that. And being on a team, that really becomes accelerated, whether we've been experienced or not. I had a vast background in real estate, but I hadn't been out selling in quite a while. And it would have taken me at least the same amount of time, despite the number of years with a license, had I not join the team. Now, I wouldn't have joined just any team because I know too much about the business, but this team was instrumental in really getting me out to the point where I exceeded any average income for a real estate agent in my first year. My first full year, I closed 32 units and made double what an average agent would make in their second or third year, or even beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah. And all teams are not created equal. I think we've all seen that, in the past.
I helped coach teams quite a bit. And what I will say is there are very few to find two that are alike is kind of difficult. And they take on all shapes and sizes and all forms. And that doesn't, that's not a bad thing necessarily. It just means that when an agent is, or a potential agent is talking about being a team, they need to really understand what that looks like and what that means. And, and what the right role is on the team for them, because we've got a lot of roles and a lot of opportunities for career growth within a team if it's run correctly, so that the business continues to build upon itself.
And I think that's probably one of the greatest strengths of a team is the fact that they have several different opportunities just within that group of people to be anything, and we've had several agents come to our team over the years, started out in one role, ended in another. And that's the best part about it, that gives us the flexibility for someone to maintain the business, maintain a company, and not have to go back and start a job over again, which is, for all of the people that have done it over the years, there's always it takes time to get comfortable, to get used to it. So the less you have to do that, the better you are going to be, and the better the team's going to be, because all the time invested from the team, from the trainers, from coaching aspects, that's all time wasted if that person is not successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know on our team, the support people are invaluable to us. I mean, there's just no way to put a price tag on what they deliver to this team. From our marketing coordinator to the transaction coordinators, they just do such a phenomenal job. It's you can't even put a price on that for supporting the agents and the customers. What about, one of the myths that I hear a lot of times coming from agents that I talk to is, well, a team is great if you're just starting out, but once you get your business up and going, it doesn't really fit you anymore. Considering that the average agent on our team, or the average time on our team, has a 5-year mark, I don't know that necessarily holds true. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that a little bit. What do you guys think? Because you both have experience and you're here, you're not newbies. So give me your input on that.
Yeah, I'll say, being part of the team, it was never questioned. Christine and I have a great relationship, so that was easy for me to step in. But being part of the team, joining everybody else, and knowing all the individuals that are on here now that have come through over the years and left for whatever reason, we've always felt like family. And that, I think, is the biggest difference maker as to why I've continued to stay as part of the team. And we've had a lot of people come and go and say, we want to just try it and see how it works and then get our business going and continue forward. But we've had those same people stay and continue to be a part of this team because they see the value of what not just the individual agents can do for themselves to help them out in times of need, but what a great background our support staff has and how they're able to handle so many of our situations that we never have to worry about how everything is going along the way. It's always just taken care of. And I think that alone makes it so much easier for us to focus on the most important thing at the time is helping that next buyer or seller find their next house or sell that house to be able to move on to the next goal. So I think that really speaks volumes as to why we have specific roles within the team and why we're still part of the team.
Yeah, and understanding that there's a level of talent that is required for any of the given roles. So if you stop and think about our structure, for an agent, in order to be highly successful, you have to be a marketer, you have to be an advertising person, you have to be a director of operations, you have to be a transaction manager, you have to be a buyer's agent, you have to be a listing agent, you have to be able to run all of the tasks that go along with it, write the processes and systems, and forecast the business. That's a huge undertaking. And so we've all leaned into what is our area of specialty, and what are we really good at, and helping each other become even better at those areas of specialty without having to worry about everything else, which allows us to really, really focus on the customer. And at the end of the day, the customer experience, because we have all of, they don't just get me or George or Kelly or any of the team that does such a great job. They get all of us. Mm-hmm. And we're all able to support each other so that they get a really, really great experience. We've been out this week visiting some of our customers face to face, going back and spending a little bit of time with them and dropping off just some appreciation tokens. And they have, I know I dropped some stuff off to a customer of George's that I never personally worked with, and they appreciate it. Was when I talked to them, it was, we love the team. They love George, everybody does, but they love the team, and they really realize the benefit that they were able to take advantage of because they worked with us. So, and that's really gratifying for any agent. I don't care where you're at. That's the payback, some of the payback for this business.
And I say that's the key factor there. It's like, yes, we may have an initial relationship with somebody when we first have that first meeting, but from there, the rest of the team just flows so well because of our personalities are different, but we all have the same goal. We all go there to step in there and try and take care of the customer. That's why it's just that we're the team, where the team is here to help you. It's not just a George or Lori here to step in. It's everybody along, from the support team to Tamara to Christina. Our entire team is always available to help them answer questions, help the customers out, and help the agents out. And obviously, when the agents feel supported and feel good in what they do, that's going to just relate over to the customer naturally. So it makes a difference, and that's why teams are so successful, and more importantly, why we've been successful over the years and been able to maintain this team for the past 9 years is because of what has been driven down from Christina down to all of us.
I think Tamara handles it so well, and we don't even think about the complexities of the business now. When I was first licensed, the business was not this. Technology was not even a part of it. And today, the level of having to understand some of the technology tools and some of the changes to the industry and the complications that have come about as we've seen more regulations and things like that being the business being impacted by those. It's moving. We're moving as an evolving industry into a point where you have to have this kind of level of support in order to really do it at the highest level and to protect yourself and your customers. So that's why the team, Tamara.
Perfect.
All good points. Great topic here. I was checking to see if we've had any questions come across on the Facebook page. Just seeing a bunch of people who say they love the team. So it's always a good thing.
There we go. What other questions do you have for George and I? Mm-hmm. Tamara, I think you had some. Did you have something for us?
Well, and for the most part, you guys have done a beautiful job of answering those questions. One of the things too, I guess, that I would say is, let's do a little bit of a Mythbusters. And what do you think are some of the biggest myths you have come across with people that you've talked to that have said they want to pursue a career in real estate?
That you have all the time off in the world.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, freedom of, so I heard this a long time ago, that freedom, and every person joins, well, not every person, but a lot of people come into real estate for the freedom and the flexibility, but unfortunately they try to exercise the freedom and the flexibility before they've earned it. And or loop into that the financial rewards. And like any business, it has to be developed, and you have to earn that ability to be able to control your schedule. Because in the beginning, you work. Totally.
Right. I think really comes down to the financial side of it, is that you walk in and you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars within your first year. It just does not happen. I mean, there's no easy button when it comes to real estate. Yeah. You got to put in the work.
And unfortunately, markets so real estate markets always cycle. So we see it. We'll consistently see cycles in real estate. And when it's in a cycle like this, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, and like we experienced before the downturn, where the business is robust because of the market conditions, and a lot of folks will flock to it because it looks easy. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of components to it beyond it looking easy, and forget that they actually are dealing with contracts, legal contracts, and people's largest financial decisions that they'll make in their lifetimes. And there's a lot of responsibility behind it, and that should be considered as folks are coming into the business. And sometimes the decision is made based off of, I like to look at pretty homes, and HGTV makes it look fun.
So, and I would say that that's one that makes me cringe the most, is I love showing homes. I love going in all of the new homes. And I don't think that sometimes agents or newer people or people who are considering a real estate career realize how much time is spent doing nothing but making phone calls. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And literally call after call after call, trying to find properties for buyers or whatever the case might be. So yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it than showing pretty homes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a side benefit. But
not all homes are pretty. So
not all homes are pretty.
You don't always get people walking off of, $1 million beachfront houses. So a lot of times you're just down the street showing a townhome that looks exactly like the last townhome you just looked at. So
there's a topic for a new up and coming Ask the Agent for Halloween, is our most frightening showing experiences.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's probably like a couple hour episode. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. We always say we should write a book.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. George, I know that right now we're looking for agents on the to add to our buyers team, mm-hmm. Because things have been so very busy in your world. You want to talk about that for just a minute?
Yes. I mean, and that's the biggest thing, is like we have been in a position the last few months where we have just been working with so many buyers and so many different customers out there, and every one of us have been busy, and we have a full staff of 6 agents on the team that we're all busy. And so we've been actively looking for somebody who wants to hop in with us, learn what we have in the past, years of working in it, maximize all the experience that we've had, all the education that we've got, and be able to run with that and join a team to where in a couple of years, you're able to then say, hey, I need to get somebody else in to help me out with my business alone, just because we're working so hard and we're closing 50 and 60 deals a year. So that's the focus that we have here on our team. And that's why we're looking actively for somebody who wants to either take their business to the next level or take that step into real estate, get your license, hop in with us, and really take your entire career to a new level, whether it be for the flexibility that you can have eventually, or to have those financial goals that you may have in order to get to that. There's so much that this team can do to get you to that level. So if you know anybody that's looking, that's what we want here on the Welch team.
Yeah, and we're looking for quality over quantity. So You know, we're looking for people who truly want to be entrepreneurs. They truly want to grow and develop their business. And this is definitely a career choice for them and something they want to continue on with and move forward. Lori, how about anything that you would like to add?
I would say, you know, because I sat in the chair of working with people who were getting into business or looking to improve their business by making a change. I would say to be very, in today's day and age, to be discerning about who you're talking to. Make sure that you're interviewing whether it's the broker, the brokerage, the team. Make sure that that you as an agent or a potential agent are interviewing them and asking the right questions, and that you fully understand the value and not just the sales pitch that you might be receiving from them. It's an interesting time in our world. I know that I received a recruiting text this morning, and my first thought was, if you value my talent so little that you can't pick up the phone and talk to me, then it's probably not a value proposition for me to be interested in what you have to offer. And so I would say, as a real estate agent or a potential real estate agent, you are going to be representing yourself in front of people and having to earn their credibility. Make the person you're going to work with do the same for you, so that you know that you're not making something that could be a mistake and could set you back in your business by a year or 2 years, or take you out of it completely and never give you the opportunity.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. And if I were to tag onto it in any way, and you can both leap in on this one, I would say don't get fooled by a gross amount of my income. Make sure that you're looking at what your net is, because 100% of zero at the end of the year is zero. So make sure that you take a look at net and what you're actually getting into. Look at the whole big picture, not just a small part of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of hidden fees in our business, and so what looks like it's too good to be true, it's very often too good to be true. And so if you're not interviewing a few different people, so that you have the right questions to ask, or find a mentor, find somebody who's in the business and really ask them what you should be asking, then you're not doing your family any favors, because that 100% now may have a lot of other fees and costs associated with it, other than intangible, actual hard cost.
Right. And that's no different. I mean, if you think about any career that you ever wanted, you always want to find somebody that you gel well with, you're able to have good conversations with. And we all do that now. I mean, even years into our careers, we're so constantly trying to learn and develop to expand our knowledge. And we do have those people that we work with and reach out to for support, with not just within our team, but outside as well, that are all typically in the business, and that we can bounce ideas off. We can help each other out. That's the whole aspect of growth. And, we here are not looking at a short-term goal. We want somebody that is looking at a career, and we want to help them develop that to take it to that next level.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well,
there's all kinds of opportunities. Remember that, not just an agent. We got lots of opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. It's to join our team, not just to be an agent. So.
Absolutely. And we can be reached through Facebook Messenger. We can be reached on our website, or you can always email any one of us at any given point in time. So careers@welchteam.com will get you there too.
Yes. Well, look, we went about the usual time that Kelly always talks. So, we're right there at 45 minutes. Well, I don't see anything else in here in regards to questions. So thank you all for joining us again for Ask the Agent. Kelly will be back next week, and hopefully I'll be there too. So everybody enjoy. Again, I'm George Pottenkulam with the Welch team. I'm one of the buyer's agents here.
Lori Mieczkowski, nice to see you guys today.
And Tamera Dallich, great being here today.
Bye all. Everybody have a great rest of the day.